Welcome to our lives. So, this is our little segment where Lenka and I share with you a little bit about what's been happening. Now, we don't like to just go over and over things that we've done. So, today we're just going to talk about one experience that we've had over the last few weeks that have really got us thinking or wondering or questioning or something that is sort of sat with us. So I'm going to put Lenka on the hot seat, and Lenka is going to share an experience that she had. And we were chatting a little bit beforehand, and she was like, "Oh, but it's negative." I don't think it's negative. I think it's a really good thing because guess what? Lenka listened to her gut. But before I tell you the story, I'm going to hand over to Lenka. So, Lenka, you share that experience because I think it's a really powerful experience for you, but also for our listeners because you listen to yourself. And this is something that we've both been learning to do, to listen to ourselves. So, share with us, Lenka.
Yes, so as Natalie said, I was not sure if I want to share this experience because in my mind it is a negative experience. It's the first time ever in a year and a bit on the road that I had to move my park up, move the space, not in the middle of the night, it was still evening time, but where I wasn't feeling safe and I wasn't feeling like this is a right place for me to be alone at night. So I tend to arrive early in the day when it's still light. I do not like driving when it's dark. I like being able to see the land, walk the cat, kind of get a feel for where I am, catch the sunset if I can. And this is a beautiful spot by the beach. Next door is a campsite that during season would be open, but because I'm off season, it's closed. And nothing that odd during the afternoon. We parked, we walked around, we settled in. But as the darkness gets coming in, there are still, for my liking, too many cars just coming into this parking lot, to this space, and just slowly driving around once or twice, maybe parking, maybe, and I don't understand people in cars who would just drive to a random place and sit in a car for an hour and leave. Like, it does not make sense to me. Maybe you need a space for a phone call, but there are few things that were already ringing my bell. This was quite remote location. This was quite, like, I think 2, 3 kilometers away from any kind of a civilization. The road in was super bumpy. Like, there's so many potholes. Like, it took me a while to really get there. So for my thinking, I was like, why would you go there in the evening? I understood. It's a beach, it's beautiful, there's sunset, you want to have a look. It was, I think, Friday evening, so like, fair enough. But when it got dark, I'm like, why are there more cars just coming, circling around, leaving, coming, circling around? Given the state of the road and the place, there was nothing for anyone to see. And then because I always park with my nose so I can run away. I always park in a way that I have easy access road out and I have an overview as much as I can over what's happening. And straight against me was a car parked, which again, I think drove once or twice in circle around. And then I could see the guy leaving the car, kind of walking a bit too close to the van to my liking. I think once or twice and kind of like lurking around. And my brain was still like, why are there more cars coming? And often the cars would park like parallel to each other and the drivers would talk to each other. I'm like, what is happening? And it was the first time I was like, okay, I'm the only van here. I am far away from people. The way out, like I was like, can they block me out? Can they like put their cars, because there's too many cars at this state. It's like, can they block me out? Like, can something happen? This guy going out. So I started being paranoid. Maybe paranoid, maybe just protective, maybe I don't know. So I quickly packed my van, closed down the curtains, and then I was like, well, I have to leave the van to walk to the front to start the car and drive away. And I really was like, well, will someone attack me when I open the door? So I looked for my pepper spray and I quickly looked through the curtains to see, like, is there anyone? Like, I had everything dark in the van, and I have very good light sensitivity in my eyes. So I was like peeking through, and then sat in a car, and I made a point of like showing the people I'm taking pictures of them, like of the license plates of the people, of the situation, recording. Like I always want to have a trail. And then as fast as I could through the very bumpy road, drive off, and then kept checking my mirrors, like, is someone following me? Someone's stalking me? And I always have few more options of parking in an area. I always know if I don't like this one, there is another one, there is another one, there is another one. So I drove to another one, drove around, and it gave me similar vibe. It still wasn't it, so I moved that, drove to another one, and I was like, okay, there are people. And usually I don't like being parked in residential areas. This was kind of in the middle of a residential area. There was a park. There was a restaurant next to it. There was street lights, and I tend to prefer to be more in nature. But after this nature experience, I was like, oh god, there are people. There is a fancy restaurant that I can park next to the restaurant, and it looks like there are people around. Um, so I parked. I walked the cat, and then there again, close to me, two cars arrived. One car arrived parked, another car arrived parked, and then another person left the first car and settled in the other car. And they were doing something very different, probably in there, based on the shaking of the car. So that was like, okay, fair enough. Like this sounds like a safe spot. I'm happy to. This is the kind of surrounding people. I'm like, okay, fair enough. You can park there for a little bit. They stay about, I think, an hour, hour and a half, and they left. I'm like, okay, I've done that in my youth as well. Sure, have fun. And I stayed. But yeah, I think the story is the fact that why I didn't want to talk about it is I don't want anyone to think that I was unsafe and if something there was a danger around me or that something could have potentially happened to me because so far I've had wonderful experiences on the road. I'm being super safe on the road. I don't think I've actually was in a real danger. I'd rather think I have overreacted and just read too much into signs and being overly precautious. And I found a wonderful place. And when I woke up in the morning and walked to the beach, it was incredible sunny day. I was in more of a resort area, which during winter time is pretty much abandoned, mostly. So I had the whole resort beach to myself. Over the weekend, a couple of locals came and it was nice festivities and a street market. So I got to experience a little bit of a life. And yeah, as you said, it's a lesson in, I don't know, I could have had a wonderful night there. I could be just paranoid or something could have happened. And, from the reviews I'm reading on these park apps, it is not completely rare for a break-in to happen or for some harassment to happen. Like it does happen. But yeah, we were very lucky. We found a wonderful place. The cat enjoyed that. He enjoyed snooping around and meeting locals. We found a new favorite spot that we actually in the area that we ended up parking. We stayed a couple nights and we might even go back because after one night of a little bit of anxiety, we found a place that I absolutely adore.
But the thing is, it's not necessarily you weren't in danger, but something must have just, pricked your spidey senses that it was like, this isn't right. Because why would you notice a load of cars coming in if you're feeling all right? So you don't know that something,
Mm.
and I think this is what's powerful is quite often we will just override our gut and override and think, I'm okay here, or I've been all right all this time. But why put yourself in that position? And like you said, you found somewhere, by the sounds of it, even nicer. So, and it's good. And you didn't allow the nervousness of driving at night on these bumpy roads to stop you from essentially looking after yourself. I mean, this is your home.
Mm.
It's one thing if you in the house and your car gets broken into, you're not there. But if your van gets broken into, you are there, and it's your home as well. It's more attached to you, so to speak, than a car. And of course, it's then the cost of fixing windows or fixing this or fixing that and everything else and replacing. And I just think it's you've really been spending the last few years just delving into who you are and embracing who you are And part of you is your little gut and your little spidey senses that are like, this isn't working. So it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just something must have just piqued something in you. And it's
Mm.
great that you then didn't allow the fear of driving at night stop you from driving at night on a dirt bumpy road to finding somewhere new. And sometimes we need to listen to that gut because it does tell us. I mean, it might not have the next day huge headlines on the news saying, mass murder or mass this or mass that, but it doesn't mean that it would have been perfectly safe. And you wouldn't have slept anyway because you were
Mhm.
so like that. You wouldn't have slept, so you would have been tired, you would have been ratty, and you wouldn't have enjoyed the experience. Whereas this way, you got to see other people, you got to see a shaking car. Yeah, I love that description. And you got to really relax and then enjoy the next day. So I think it's a great story for our listeners because we do need to listen to our intuition and to our gut and not allow that brain to just override everything and take control because sometimes our brains are really, really stupid and they don't listen. So thank you for sharing, Lenka. That was really I find it an inspiring story because knowing you, I know how much how far you've come, being able to move the van and just do that without totally going nuts.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, yeah, sure. Luckily, I didn't have to drive too long. I knew I have 10, 15 minute worth of a drive. So it's like, okay, I can definitely do that. I could see over the months of doing this a bit more confidence in pushing the limits of my driving at night or at bumpy roads or these things. But okay, I can do that. I'd rather, yeah, spend 10, 15 minutes driving, or even if I need to spend half an hour driving to a different place, because I knew that even half an hour away would be an official campground where I could be gated and surrounded by an official place. If I could not find any of the free places or kind of the off the grid park ups that I prefer, I could drive. And it was still early in the night. It wasn't like it's winter, so we get darkness at around 6, 7 o'clock. So it's not like I was in the middle of the night. And I think, yeah, the decision to leave as soon as possible, not give it a couple more hours and see if they're gonna leave because 6 o'clock is still early. It's not that surprising for people to be out and about at 6 or 7. Again, maybe there was someone planning to do something else in this parking lot as well, and I was just annoying, and they wanted to make sure that the space is clean and they can invite their friends over for a party. So absolutely possible. But yeah, that's my story. All good. Great lesson to learn, and we're still loving the life on the road. Anyways, enough about me. I'm curious, what has been happening in your life recently? And is there an event, an experience, a moment that, for the good or the bad, stood up in your mind and is something that's like, there is a lesson in there that I want to share with our listeners?
Well, I've been having quite a few of those over the last few months. When you move back home, it's not always smooth sailing. But one thing is, I had an opportunity to attend a workshop, which I was in two minds about because it's something that I'm interested in. It's like the shadow side, and I'm quite interested in karma and sort of what we brought with us when we born and what past lives and all that. So this was looking a little bit into the shadow side, and I was a bit in two minds because it wasn't well, from what I read up on it, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it touched on what I was looking for, if that makes sense. But I thought, oh, you know what? Got nothing better to do, and it's a weekend. It was a full day and then an evening and a half day, and it's in a just down the road, so it wasn't far. I could, yeah, okay, got nothing better to do. Let's do this. And I was very as I am when I'm meet new people. And the thing is, one of the things that that struck me is I've come back home. So I grew up in Johannesburg. And a lot of these people on the course were people who knew me as a kid. And I'm like, oh my word, I don't like to go where people know me. I like to be unknown. So that, first of all, going there was like, uh-oh, all these people know me. And most of all these people know my mother. So anybody who has a mother knows that they always find out stuff. And I thought, how honest can I be on this course? And then I just thought, you know what? Suck it up. You're doing this, you're doing it for you, and just leave it. Just get as much as you can out of it and don't worry about them telling your mother what you're saying and anything else. And the guy who was taking this workshop did say, this is confidential. And I'm like, please, really do commit to that. So that was my first experience, was like, no, I can't do this. This is not going to work because they all know my mother. But one thing I did find is when you're doing personal development and when you really do push your way into it, things come up. And for me, it was, why am I reacting certain ways when certain things happen? What are the triggers and why are they triggers? And it was really an eye-opener in a way, because I know that it's difficult for me to be back at home. There's a lot of stuff and there's reasons why I was living in the UK and not here. And it really cemented that. It's like, well, you know what? You need to deal with them. You need to really start to look at them, because as much as I love lifting up that carpet and shoving everything underneath and putting it down, guess what? It doesn't work, because I've been doing that so many years that carpet has been lifted up and all that dirt has come out, and it's like, yeah, now what are you going to do? So this was a really good workshop for me to find a way. Okay, why do I react like this? Why are these my triggers? What is going on? And I love that, because I haven't done anything like that in a while, with moving house and everything else. So it really stuck me in it. And I found it really ironic is that I was doing it in Johannesburg with people I've known when I was a child. So it's not even like I did in the UK where nobody knows me. I'm doing this with people who, it's almost like coming full circle. So it was a surreal experience, because when I've been on workshops, I've mostly gone with one person, known one person, but generally been strangers, and then you make friends. But these are not strangers. I mean, they're strangers in a way because I haven't been around them or communicated with them for so long, but yet they're not strangers. And that I found an interesting idea, that I would do this type of workshop in this way. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it was such a weird experience to be dealing with my past, people from my past. So I found that very, very interesting, and I'm still processing. I'm still trying to, work through it and to really deal with it. But it's one thing is, as our listeners know, and as you know, Lenka, the first thing I was going to do is hit South Africa, get in the car and just hit the road and be gone. Yeah, I've landed in in Johannesburg in November, and guess where I still am? Still in Johannesburg. So I haven't hit that road yet. And I've been like, why? I plan day trips. Why? What's going on? And through doing this workshop, it's like, okay, maybe it's time to stop running. Maybe it's time to start facing stuff. Oh my God. No, 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 no. And it's reevaluating what our plans are. Not necessarily, we still want to plot, we still want to grow our own, we still want to be off grid, but it's maybe where we're doing it. So this workshop has made me realize that I can't keep running. I'm going to have to deal. But when I'm ready, and hopefully that's soon, is I can leave, but I have to return. And this has been something that's like, what the hell is going on? So, for any of our listeners, if you're lifting up that carpet and shoving the stuff underneath or running away, guess what? Life has a way of plonking you right back where you need to be. And this is something that I'm struggling with a little bit, is this idea that I can't just go. I have to come back. And so it's not a running away, but it's a leaving. And there's a difference. And this is something that I'm having to deal with because I still just want to run away. And then I have to, like, no, I need to leave so that I can return and not run away, because you can't run away from stuff. You can't run away. That baggage comes with you. I took that baggage from Joburg to Cape Town to England and I back to Joburg. And I now have to deal with it. And this is really not come as a surprise, but it's bit me on the bum basically, because I really hoped it wouldn't, but it has. And it's been a shock for me because I'm really having to deal with it and I don't want to. And it's like, no, I don't want to. And it's like, okay, grow up, girl, put your big girl pants on and deal with it. And this workshop really helped. It really helped to hit home that I need to stop running. And I'm still processing that. I'll most probably tell you in a couple of months' time if I've processed it. But it's a weird experience, and I'm finding it really difficult to describe because I'm not even sure where it's going to land up. But it's a really weird experience because it's like, okay, stop running and just be, and then you're going to be allowed to leave. And I'm like, okay, so I'm I've got to work on that. So fingers crossed, I'm doing the right things and being patient and trusting in the universe that at some point I'll be allowed to leave, even if it is to go look at land. But it is, our plans are shifting a little bit. The core plan is still there, but as I said, it's more where it's going to happen as opposed to what's going to happen. So where we were really planning on being far, 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 far away from Johannesburg, I'm starting to think maybe I need to be closer for whatever reason. You know what? Somebody hopefully out there knows. But that was for me such a surreal experience. And I've not had that type of experience with workshops before. And I've done a load and I've always learned from them. But that type of experience, it almost come out my head and sits in the emotions, in the gut, and that I find fascinating. So yeah, that's been my experience.
Wow, yes. That definitely sounds like something to, yeah, think about, consider. But one thing I wanted to say is obviously you're coming back to South Africa, coming back to Joburg after many years as a very different person, and you have done so much work on yourself. So, even if it's uncomfortable and even if it's something you don't want to be dealing with, yet you are more than equipped to be able to handle it and be able to deal with it and to, figure out how to put it to bed and how to navigate and how to manage, so you don't have to run away and you can really enjoy your new chapter in South Africa without, as you said, you maybe call it leaving it. I see when you move away from running away, you start heading towards something new. It becomes less about what am I leaving behind and what I want to escape from, rather than what am I heading towards. I think there's interesting parallels again with our journeys. With, you could describe my experience as well as, okay, what am I heading towards? What is better and new out there, rather than looking at it running away. So that's interesting.
Well, thank you for that. And yeah, start looking to what am I going towards.
Mhm.
So I love that. So thank you.
Well, that's been a little window into our lives where we are pretty much right now at this point of time. I hope you found it interesting and there was something new for you that you took away from our little tidbits. We would love to hear from you. Was there an experience in the last couple of weeks that made you stop and consider and reflect on what can I actually learn from this experience? Be it good, be it bad, be it exhilarating, or be it a bit scary, we would love to hear from you.